Welcome back to another thrilling episode of Let Me Watch That For You. And today we will be watching and reviewing the movie Tarot. And I figured to get in the mood to watch the movie, I could give you guys a tarot card reading. So this will be a very real tarot card reading with a very real tarot card deck. I'm gonna just pick the card on top and and read it. It looks like it looks like a rather large pair of breasts. Is in your future. So straight men, lesbians, I think we got some clicking to do. The choice is yours. The future's quite literally in your hands right now. Catchy theme song, yeah. Tarot opens to a group of 20-somethings sitting around a campfire outside of a mansion they rented to celebrate their friend Elise's birthday. The group takes turns giving out superlatives like they're on the high school yearbook committee. Things like most likely to get knocked up or most likely to eat something off the floor.
Haven't you ever heard the 5-second rule? No.
You know, stuff 20-year-olds talk about. Things take an awkward turn when the group votes for our protagonists, Haley and Grant, to be the first ones to get married because they just broke up before this little get-together. This is so dramatic. Much like my household growing up, when things get awkward, it is time to drink. The group searches the house for booze and stumbles across a deck of tarot cards. And conveniently, Haley is a self-taught tarot card reader and astrologist. She says it's an unspoken rule to not use somebody else's deck, but Elise pulls the "it's my birthday" card and thus condemns her closest group of friends to a gruesome demise. Happy birthday, Elise. The next scene is so formulaic. I thought maybe we would cut away to the present and then kind of flash back to these readings as they were relevant, but Haley just reads everyone's fortunes one by one. Every card is like a horrible looking monster. I'm starting to think she grabbed a Yu-Gi-Oh deck by mistake. She's out here like, and in your future slot, you have the wicked worm beast in reverse. She gets really specific, like telling Madeline, a sort of influencer slash phone addict of the group, that technology will fail around her. How in the world does an ancient deck of cards warn you that your iPhone is gonna break? She tells Elise that she needs to be careful when climbing the ladder to success, or she'll suffer a crushing blow. They waste no time in this movie. Haley tells them all what is going to happen, and then we get right into it. Also, Lucas is shown eating a chip off of the floor, so I'm really glad Chekhov's superlative was resolved before the end of the movie. Our first victim is our birthday girl, Elise. She has the sorority house to herself once the main group is back from their night celebrating her birthday. She takes a bath while on the phone with Paige, and she just kind of holds it up while it's on speakerphone. I just feel like typically when you're talking on speakerphone, you could probably just put it on the side of the bath to be a little more relaxing. Nevertheless, she gets out of the bath and sees the ladder to the attic has been thrown down, and she asks if anyone is there. And when no one responds, she just pulls the ladder up and shuts the attic door. Not today, High Priestess. After heading to her room to get the hot goss on Haley's breakup, she hears the ladder slam down again. I guess the first time she didn't hear the loud bang right outside the bathroom door, or the evil ghost was a lot gentler when lowering the ladder. Either way, Elise, being such a Libra, just has to check it out this time, so she climbs the ladder and gets all jump scared by the High Priestess, which Haley, while giving her birthday tarot card reading, said the High Priestess card was a warning to slow down or she could slip up and suffer a crushing blow. Well, Elise didn't take that literally, and she does slip up in the sense that she falls off a ladder, and she does suffer a crushing blow in the sense that a ghost repeatedly slams a ladder onto her. Rest in peace, Elise. Side note, her phone dramatically rings as the camera pans over Elise's corpse, and we see on the caller ID that Paige is calling. I mean, it's not like Paige could have done anything to save her friend anyway, but what sticks out to me more is that Elise's ringtone is Happy Birthday. Is that a thing? Was that a thing in Happy Death Day? Wasn't that, or at least it was part of the the trailer. Do you switch your ringtone to happy birthday on your birthday? Then we're treated to a little mopey friend group moment as the crew mourns Elise. Haley says that she'll stay the night with Paige, and I'm at the age now where when I see anyone's apartment on TV, I immediately think, how the heck can you afford this? It's freaking huge. Lucas walks Madeline home. They've been having a will they, won't they back and forth this whole movie, and Madeline almost invites Lucas to come up to her apartment, but she decides against it at the last minute, and that was the last time she'd ever see Lucas.
It's so important to have sex with people before they go missing.
Agreed. Paige wakes up from a nightmare and blames herself for what happened to Elise. And now that I think about it, I don't know why the police aren't investigating these people. Do they think Elise accidentally smashed herself in the head with a ladder multiple times? Her obituary says she fell and was struck by a ladder. They really went and found a sorority girl's corpse looking like... and said, yup, clearly an accident. Let's call it a day. It's easier if you don't ask questions. Haley tells Paige that she can't blame herself and that whatever was going to happen would have happened, which is funny coming from the girl that cursed her friends to die horrible deaths by reading their fortunes with a cursed deck of tarot cards. Oh well, nothing you can do about that. We learned that Haley's mom had a terminal illness, and that's when Haley started learning tarot and astrology, and no matter what she did, the cards always read the same, and her mom passed away. So now Haley firmly believes fate is set in stone. It's kind of ghoulish to have the reason our main character knows how to read tarot cards be because of her sick mother, and also indirectly her sick mother's death is the reason why her friends died too, in a way. And we never get a moment in this movie where Haley blames herself. She thinks fate is the reason this all happened anyway. So we're moving on to our next victim. Lucas, the guy who eats the chip off the floor, was warned to watch out for the hermit's light because it could lead him down the wrong track. And what do you know? Lucas ends up at a train station and sees the hermit standing with his little lantern standing there like a Tonberry and runs into a restricted area to get away. Lucas steps on a newspaper with the headline, "You die today," and a picture of him in his outfit that he's currently wearing. I thought that was so stupid. I loved it. There's not much else to say. Lucas runs onto a rundown train before the hermit jumps out of the darkness and scares him enough to fall back right into an oncoming train. Rest in peace, Lucas. At least Elise seemingly had a chance to not go up that scary ladder in the attic. Lucas was chased by this monster, then jump scared into the quietest oncoming train in history. If anything, he was avoiding the hermit's light, so I'm not sure if Haley was really setting him up for success. The police finally get involved but say there are no signs of foul play. The gang heads back to another apartment I will never be able to afford and say it's a terrible coincidence. 2 of their friends died in 2 days. Haley replies with, "I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in," and then the camera zooms into her face and she says, "Fate." Haley is now convinced the readings have something to do with the deaths. She says Luke was an earth sign. They found him in the dirt. And I'm really curious, how would they have found him in the air if he was an air sign? But somehow it works, and everyone but Grant starts to agree with Haley. They are like totally gooping themselves over the idea that tarot cards predicted the deaths of their friends, and they are desperate to learn more. And now we have our obligatory research scene. Haley Googles horoscope deaths and gets all the info she needs from the second search website that popped up. Grant Googles the author of said website and says she's been discredited and is seen as a total joke. Haley grabs the car keys and we're going to a stranger's house in the middle of the night. Not that any of you would do that. That stranger happens to be Alma Astrum. She gives us a lore dump on the tarot card deck. It has a history of killing people over the years. She came across the deck herself and read her friend's fortunes, and she was the only survivor because she didn't read her own. So she's on a mission to destroy the deck that killed her friends, and then gives even more lore by explaining exactly how the evil deck was made and by who and why she did it. The astrologer was a fortune teller that swore revenge on her old boss for killing her daughter. She offs herself and imbues the deck with her soul. Speaking of soul, the director has a shot of the soles of her feet with the deck, so foot perverts, this one's for you. With the lore dump finally flushed, the gang leaves, but doesn't seem to immediately want to rush back to the house that had the tarot cards and destroy the deck, even though that's basically all Alma told them to do. Madeline talks about trying to reverse engineer the reading and pulls up her recording, remember, because she is like an influencer for one scene. Of course, Haley from the recording reads that technology will fail and the car slows to a stop. And she also says it'll be water under the bridge in no time, and they're on a bridge right now. Holy smokes. This is terrifying. Thankfully, Paxton also says it in case you were looking at your phone for the past 5 minutes.
We're on a bridge right now.
The recording of Madeline's reading continues with the warning that you tend to run away from your problems, but this time you need to stay put and don't move or run away or anything like that. Literally just sit still when something scary is happening and you will be fine. Like, if you were to need this information to break a curse, then I just gave it to you. Congrats, girly. Give us nothing and you will live. And then the curse plays Hangman on the window and spells out run. So of course Madeline just runs away from the car. Where are you gonna go? I'm not even really sure how this happens, but Madeline just runs right into a rope trap that is hanging down like 100 feet in the middle of the bridge. There's a monster on top of the bridge who represents the Hanged Man card, and he just dangles a giant rope and catches Madeline and yoinks her up into oblivion. The foursome runs away from the bridge, and they have a realization that they already had like 10 minutes ago. Haley is sort of shocked that Madeline's fortune came true, but we just talked about how that was happening, and the old lady told you exactly what you needed to do to break the curse. It took the pointless death of yet another friend for them to decide they should break the curse. But I feel like they should have been speeding down the road to the mansion from the start of the scene immediately. Also, because of this realization, Paxton decides he's gonna stay and barricade himself in his dorm and goes off on his own while the other three head to the spooky mansion. Ooh. Paxton gets a little scare scene of his own where he sees a scary looking jester across the street. To give Paxton credit where it's due, he goes to the security office, but they're on break and his key fob doesn't open the stairwell. So if I was being chased by a scary clown and could only get onto the elevator, I would probably take it too. Even though his fortune told him to stay away from enclosed spaces and ascending numbers, which is so specific. There's a fun little bit where the doors open and close a few times, and each time the clown is doing something weird, like walking on the ceiling. He's so silly. The elevator lights turn red and the clown breaks in through the ceiling, and we cut to black and hear Paxton scream. The other three stooges make their way to the cursed deck and they throw it in a fire, but the cards don't burn, so they call Alma and ask her to drive hours to come help them. Alma made it her life's mission to destroy the deck, and they told her where the deck was located when they first met, so I'm not really sure why she didn't try to come destroy the deck before this point. I guess it's her life's mission, but also she's not in that big of a rush. Alma starts to perform a ritual and says she wants to speak to the astrologer. The ghost appears and reads her fortune, then yoinks her into the darkness. Then Haley, Grant, and Paige run away only to come across Alma's body. She has a cartoonish amount of giant swords sticking out of her back, just like the card the astrologer drew for her. No offense, Alma, but you you talk a big game just to end up a pincushion. Paige gets separated from her friends in the hallway and ends up getting locked in the basement. There's a dirty old light bulb that flickers, and when Paige looks up at it, it shatters in her face. I don't know why, but Paige gets tortured the most. That astrologer lady must really hate her, or maybe she just hates the new Mean Girls movie. Paige fumbles around with blurry vision and bumps into a magician on a stage. He's an evil magician. A dark magician, one might say. Second Yu-Gi-Oh reference in one YouTube video. We hit a new record. Paige runs and hides in a giant case, which slowly gets dragged on stage for the magician's performance. We get that typical sword, or in this case, saw, cutting through a box someone is in before the magician yanks his crank and raises the floor of the box so Paige is laying flat. And then he just cuts her in half, but the audience cheers, so at least she died doing what she loves. Oh yeah, while this was happening, Haley and Grant saw a very scary demon and pushed a dresser in front of a door to lock themselves in a random room of the mansion. They have a heart-to-heart moment, and Haley has a brain blast and devises a plan to use the cursed tarot card deck to do a reading on the astrologer herself, thus cursing the cursor. Grant is in the middle of telling Haley how great a couple Aquarius and Leos are, and how that means the two of them are unstoppable together, and then immediately gets yoinked out of a window by death incarnate. Haley runs and hides in a closet. The monster just kind of appears behind her as she keeps running. She ends up getting choked by Mr. Death himself. Jealous? And Grant saves her by smacking it with a fire poker. Haley starts to do a reading while Grant immediately gets knocked out by the demon and slowly dragged towards this flaming portal. You might think a portal to hell in the hallway is tacky, but I see the vision. And right before he gets pulled in, Haley finished her tarot reading while getting choked again. I'm starting to think this is more than a coincidence. Haley drops a final quip that Alma said earlier about how the death card in this case just means death. And then the astrologer just kind of turns all bloody and goopy and disappears. The cursed tarot cards slowly burn as the lovers embrace. That's just what their troubled relationship needed. Some trauma bonding. We see a brief glimpse of what I guess is the afterlife, and the astrologer looks like her normal self and holds hands with her daughter. I guess she's moved on now. She kind of killed like so many innocent people over hundreds of years. I'm really torn if I should be happy for her or not. Grant and Haley walk down the road holding hands like, I get it, you're back together. Gosh. Until they see none other than Paxton. It turns out he lived because his roommate opened the elevator door before the jester could kill him. Thanks. He drives Haley and Grant back to campus, and Grant says, "We did it. We changed fate." And Haley, like a badass, says, "Fuck fate." And we roll credits. Poof. Immediately I thought, what are the police gonna do? They have another corpse on their hands. This girl has been cut in half, and there's the other friend of theirs is just gone. There's no trace of where the other friend went. They have a missing person and another homicide. This is a nightmare. The tarot card reading should have said, you all have jail in your future. I forgot about Alma too. There's a lady stabbed with a bunch of swords, and you're the only people there. Like you're gonna go to jail. That's what the card should have said. The card should have read jailbirds for all three of you from the start. Maybe Haley could do a tarot card reading for the judge. You're gonna fall in love this year. If I'm free. If I'm found innocent. Court is adjourned. Baby. What is the moral of this story? Is there one? Does anyone care? Tarot is a silly little movie that doesn't take itself very seriously. I actually like a stupid horror movie that embraces its flaws. If you enjoy a B movie, then Tarot would actually be really fun to watch with friends, or maybe a drinking game. I don't drink and I don't have friends, but I imagine it would be fun. Please feel bad for me and subscribe. What did you think of Tarot? Do you act like your zodiac? I'm a Taurus, and everyone says that means I'm stubborn and lazy, but that's not true because I'm always right and I don't want want to do anything. If you have a suggestion for a movie to feature in an upcoming video, drop it in the comments below. In the meantime, I'd like to thank my patrons so much. It is because of you guys that I can even think about doing YouTube videos. If you're interested in becoming a patron and getting your name featured on a very professional ending slide, as well as joining us on Discord where we watch a movie together once a month and there's no filter, we can say things like and also one of my favorites, I also live stream mostly music on Twitch and TikTok, and I've been just kind of posting really stupid things to learn how to edit better. I don't really think anything's that great, but I am trying to just force myself to like learn something, and I just figured I might as well post it afterwards. So it's kind of all over the place. But any follows anywhere on my social media is super helpful. Leaving this video on while you're going to sleep, or maybe to punish someone, maybe to punish a child that's misbehaved. Either way, I appreciate you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you next time. My name is Matt Hall. This has been another episode of Let Me Watch That For You. Bye-bye.